What is up, everybody? Welcome into the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football, the live edition, game day morning edition. We have the first full slate of Sunday games. Let's go. I'm stoked. I know you guys are as well. We are going to be answering all of your fantasy football questions in this podcast, and I am going to make sure that we get our best lineup on the field for this Sunday. So I'm going to wait for some people to roll in, and then I'm going to start answering all of your fantasy football questions for today's game. We're going to make sure we get that win in week one. Because what's up, everybody? Welcome into the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. We're going to make sure we get that win in week one today. Waiting for some people to roll in, answering all fantasy football questions. The highest point total games. What's up? I see we got a few of you rolling in. The highest point total games on the week. This is definitely something you want to be starting players in all these games are the Fins and Jags and the Colts and Texans. So we're starting everybody on both sides of the ball in this game. Come at me with all your fantasy football questions. Let's get this going. What's up, everybody? I see we got a few of you rolling in. Good to see you guys. Hit me with your fantasy football questions. Let's get our best lineup on the field this Sunday. Ooh, I'm pumped. I know you guys are as well. The first Sunday, it's always a special feeling. It really is. Hit me with all your questions. Dell or Shaqiri? Who's Shaqiri? Dell or Shaqiri? Huh. We're going Tank Dell, man. I understand that he's the wide receiver 3 on the depth chart, but the minute the season starts, it doesn't really matter. I mean, this dude's going to be getting a crazy amount of volume. Don't worry about it. Khalil Shakir, yeah. You're obviously starting Tank Dell over Khalil Shakir, bro. Khalil Shakir is. I mean, he's going to be completely volume dependent. He's kind of one of those wide receivers where the only reason he's even remotely relevant is because of the offense that he's in. So when you look at it from a talent perspective, Tank Dell is a much better wide receiver from a talent perspective. He's in what should be a way better offense because it's a more loaded wide receiver room. He's got a projected MVP quarterback throwing him the ball. I love Tank Dell in this game. Don't let the wide receiver 3 on the depth chart thing scare you away. Tank Dell should have a good game. It's projected to be the second highest scoring game on the slate after the Fins and Jags. So I'm not sitting any of the big 3 wide receivers for the Texans. Tank will get volume, bro. They love Tank Dell. They absolutely love Tank Dell. Don't let the depth chart fool you. Tank Dell is going to come out. I predict Tank Dell will have 8 targets today. 8 targets. Mark my words. He's having 8 targets in this game. 8 targets in a high-scoring projected game is money. It's a recipe for success. What up, Mike? Adunze, Keon Coleman, Taysom Hill at flex. Man, 2 rookie wide receivers and a tight end that's a hybrid player. That's tough, man. But I'm going to go Keon Coleman. I mean, I like his upside this year. Now, obviously, betting on rookies in their very first game is always a little bit risky, but I think that, I mean, he's definitely playing in the best offense out of the three, and so I'm thinking we're just going to go with the player in the best offense here since we're looking at two rookies and we're looking at a tight end that really, I don't know. He's very hard to predict. It's hard to predict how they're going to use Taysom Hill on a weekly basis, so there's just so much volatility with Taysom Hill. I kind of want to avoid it. So I'm going with who I think is the wide receiver one in the Buffalo Bills offense and Keon Coleman. For sure. Ask away, everybody, as many questions as you want. I will answer an unlimited amount of fantasy questions. Don't feel afraid to ask. Just ask as many questions as you possibly can. Yeah, Mike, we're going with Keon Coleman, bro. We got some more people rolling in. I like to see it. Ask away, everybody. I like the Minnesota Vikings against the New York Giants. Now, there's going to be people that tell you that, hey, the Minnesota Vikings have problems with their secondary and they're going against Malik Neighbors and everything like that. But the Giants over the past few seasons have not even proved that they can move the ball whatsoever. So I don't think that adding a stud wide receiver one is necessarily going to change the overall context of the offense. The offensive line is still bad. The quarterback is still one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. When it comes to the defensive position, I always favor starting defenses that are playing against interception-prone quarterbacks versus starting great elite defenses. So even though they're not really known as a ball-hawking defense, look for them to have a turnover in this game or two and potentially a pick six because Daniel Jones is horrible. The Giants are a bottom five overall projected offense. So I very much like starting the Minnesota Vikings in this game. But Seattle is not a bad streaming option either, but I really like the Vikings against the Giants. It's my favorite defensive matchup of the entire week. And they are on a lot of waiver wires. So you can go out and you can get the Minnesota Vikings. They're on a lot of waiver wires. Ask away, everybody, as many fantasy football questions as you want. Yeah, we're definitely going Jake Ferguson here. I mean, look, the Cowboys are projected to be a top five overall offense in the league. And the next passing weapon in the offense outside of CeeDee Lamb is Jake Ferguson. We saw that last season. We also saw him be able to pretty much impose his will on defenses. He's a very hard tight end to cover because he's so athletic. So I am definitely going to go with the more talented tight end in the better offense, my friend. Reports are that Lockett is going to play. Do I start GSN or Josh Palmer? Man, that's tough. I'm still starting JSN in this game. I mean, going up against the Broncos, I mean, like, obviously they have Patrick Surtain, but outside of that, they are an absolutely terrible defense. So considering the fact that Patrick Surtain is probably going to be shadowing DK Metcalf, I think the JSN is going to be open to eat all over the field against an otherwise helpless defense. So I'm still starting JSN even if Tyler Lockett's playing. Tyler Lockett's old, bro. I don't think he's going to be as much of a factor this year. I think we're going to see a huge breakout for JSN. We know that typically wide receivers that have elite prospect profiles almost always break out in year two. and this is year 2 for JSN. Look for him to have a good season, and I think it's going to start right out of the gate. So I am starting JSN over Joshua Palmer. Good to see you, Smokey Bandit, by the way. Yes, sir. You know I got you. And if y'all want to ask me questions on sports betting, I'm able to answer those as well. Like if you have questions about, any of your bets that you're placing on Underdog and you want to feel confident about your bet, I am also able to help you with that. I've done a lot of sports betting in my life and had a pretty good amount of success. And I want to make sure that before you click that button and accept your bet, whatever bet you're making, I want to make sure that you are making the right decision. So come at me with your sports betting questions as well. Blow up the chat, my friends. The more questions, the better. Come on, everybody. It's Sunday. I know you got more lineup questions. Don't be afraid to ask. Ask as many questions as you want to ask. I see we got some more people rolling in. Good to see. Ask away, everybody. All your fantasy football questions, whatever you have lineup-wise about week 1, hit me in the chat, and I got you. Metcalf or McLaurin PPR? McLaurin against the Bucs is I am going to go with McLaurin in this game. I mean, obviously, Patrick Surtain is an absolute shutdown corner. DK Metcalf is not a matchup-proof wide receiver, despite the fact that a lot of people like to act like he is because of his size and athletic ability. He has the ability to get shut down. He's actually notorious for getting shut down against good corners. I think that Patrick Surtain is going to have his way with DK Metcalf in this game, and I like Terry McLaurin against the Bucs because here's the thing. Washington has a terrible defense. They are probably going to be playing from behind in this game because their defense is one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and the Bucs can score on an average defense or a bad defense all day long. So I think Terry McLaurin's a very good bring back for this game. I think he's a good option. And the Bucs defense certainly doesn't scare me away at all. So I'm leaning McLaurin over DK Metcalf. Got some more people rolling in. Welcome into the show, everybody. Game day morning. Let's get it. Ask me all your fantasy football questions. You can ask as many questions as you want. I want you to blow up the chat so I can grow my live streaming base. So certainly don't be afraid to ask questions. Blow up the chat. Ask as many questions as you want. Oh, and also ask me your sports betting questions as well. It doesn't just have to be fantasy. I'm covering sports betting as well, so ask away on that. Just waiting for some more people to roll in. Ask away, everybody. We got some more people rolling in. Good to see. Good to see. Ask away all your fantasy football questions, whatever you may have. I want you guys to blow up the chat as much as possible. I'm trying to grow my live streaming base. So the more conversation we have in the chat, the better it works out for me. So don't be shy on asking questions. Ask me as many questions as you want regarding your week one lineup setting decisions. Whatever questions you may have. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see some more people rolling in. Game day morning, baby. I'm pumped. I know you guys are as well. Let's get this. Let's get our best lineup on the field this Sunday. I am here to help with your lineup setting decisions. So ask me whatever questions you want, fantasy football related, and we are going to get our best lineup on the field this week. Got some more people rolling in. Like to see it. All right, y'all, blow up the chat. Anything you got? More people rolling in. All right, all right. Ask away all your fantasy football questions. What do you got? First Sunday of the year. I know y'all got lineup decisions, tough lineup decisions. Thoughts on Addison? I think that Addison is a great prospect. I think that Addison is a great talent, but I don't necessarily trust Sam Darnold to feed Jordan Addison. Obviously, Jordan Addison had a pretty solid rookie season, and typically wide receivers that have great prospect profiles and are going into year two typically have a breakout, but normally they're playing with the same quarterback that they did in their first season. And so now that he gets what is probably, not guaranteed, but probably a massive quarterback downgrade, I do not like Addison really nearly as much as a lot of other people do. I think he's a good best ball target in the range that he's going because I still think he has a good weekly ceiling, but I don't think that he's going to give you any sort of consistent production. I think he's going to have a lot of weeks where he's a total bust, to be honest with you, mainly because of the quarterback situation. Thoughts on Dowdle? Dowdle is interesting, bro, because you have Dalvin Cook and you have Ezekiel Elliott, two running backs that were elite, as good as it gets in their prime. And now they're both on the same team, but they're totally washed up. And all reports are that Rico Dowdle is going to be handling the majority of the opportunity share in the offense. With that being said, I don't think that Dowdle himself is that much of a talent. And I think that this offense is going to underperform. So I'm really not that big on Rico Dowdle because it could be one of those things where they say that he's the starting running back, but Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott still end up getting a significant workload. In fact, I don't see why they signed Zeke or Dalvin Cook if they're only going to use them for depth and not going to use them as part-time starters, right? So I think that Dowdle isn't going to get quite the workload that everybody thinks he is. I do think he has some explosiveness, but it's not elite explosiveness. And I think the offense is going to underperform. So I'm really not that big on Rico Dowdle this year. I think he is being overvalued at the moment. Blow up the chat, everybody. As many questions as you desire. Got some more people rolling in. Like to see it. Oh, and if you're in here watching, make sure to hit the like button. It's tremendously important to hit the like button so the video gets out there to as many people as possible. The YouTube algorithm, they want you to hit the like button. Even if you're watching the entire video, it shouldn't matter, but make sure to hit the like button if you are in here. It's tremendously important to growing channel. More people rolling in. Like to see it. Blow up the chat, my friends. Ask as many questions as you want. Game day morning, baby. Let's get our best lineup on the field. Appreciate you. I see a few more of you hitting the like button. If everybody in here would hit the like button, that would be tremendously helpful to the channel. What's up? What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining. Game day morning. We are trying to get our best lineup on the field for this Sunday, so ask as many questions as you want to ask. Yeah, Tyler, I think that the Cowboys offense is going to underperform this year. I don't think they're going to be as good as everybody thinks they're going to be. So, all the assets in the Cowboys offense, I feel like are being overvalued. Even CeeDee Lamb is overvalued. I mean, I think that CeeDee Lamb will have a great season. I mean, he's going to be a target hog in an offense that really is only going to be run through him. So, from a volume perspective and a talent perspective, he's obviously there. But, is he going to be as efficient as he was last season? I doubt it. I don't think the offense is as good as everybody thinks it is. So, while CeeDee Lamb is a great player, And I still think that he might return first-round value. I think that, like, him being drafted at the bottom of the first round should be a little bit more in the range that he's going, as opposed to, the top of the first round. Thought on Blake Corum if Kyren returns kicks. I think that Blake Corum is a very important cuff, but let me be very clear on this. I think Kyren's still going to have a very good season. I think they have him returning kicks because they want him touching the ball as much as possible because he's an elite player. And Sean McVay tends to use his elite players as much as he possibly can. So I don't mind the fact that Kyren is returning kicks, but even before Kyren was returning kicks, I still thought that it was a good idea to go ahead and have Blake Corum as a cuff just because he's used so freaking much, and the possibility for injury is certainly there. He got hurt last year, missed 5 games. He's an absolute workhorse, and they drafted Blake Corum, I think, as an insurance policy and not so much to use him in a split backfield. I think he's just there if Kyren Williams gets hurt, despite most other analysts not thinking that. I think that Blake Corum is there for if Kyren Williams goes down with an injury. So I don't know. Considering the fact that he does seem slightly injury prone, I do want to roster Blake Corum if I have Kyren Williams. All right, y'all. This is your opportunity to ask me whatever questions you want fantasy football related, and I will answer all of your questions. Make sure to hit the like button if you have not already. We are talking about lineup decisions for this Sunday. And we're making sure we get our best lineup on the field because I want everybody that's watching this live stream today, watching this live stream today, to start 1-0. That's the goal. We need to get that first win. That first win is such a good feeling on that first Sunday. The first Sunday is very special. I always enjoy the first Sunday of the season, and I know you guys want to get that win, so ask away. Ask away any and all fantasy football questions you might have. We are going to get this win in week 1. What's up, everybody? We got some more people rolling in. Like to see it. Hit me with all of your fantasy football questions for week 1. Let's make sure we get your optimal lineup on the field, and I want to make sure you guys win week 1 fantasy football. Blow up the chat. Blow it up. And ask me your sports betting questions as well. So we are not just doing fantasy here today. We are doing sports betting as well. Any sports betting question that you have about parlays or whatever it may be, go ahead and ask me, and I will answer those as well as your fantasy football questions. We are in here. We are live. It is week 1. I'm excited. I know you guys are as well. We are answering all fantasy football questions, not just super chats, and I want to make sure you guys get your best lineup on the field for Sunday. So blow up the comment section, ask away. Let's get our best lineup on the field for Sunday. Yeah, if you're in here, don't be afraid to ask. Ask as many questions as you want. What up, Iron Man? Hello, I'm rebuilding my dynasty team. Which one should I start? What's good, Andre? Good to see you in here, bro. Happy Sunday, week 1. Let's freaking go. Hello, I'm rebuilding my dynasty team. Which one should I start? Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, and Jigba, or JMO? Bro, I like JMO this week. I think he's one of those sneaky starts for week 1. I mean, he's playing in a dome in what's projected to be a very high-scoring game. The Bears receivers, I'm just not so sure on. But Keenan Allen is one of those players that's guaranteed targets. Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be having a big game. I think these are all really good options, but I'm going to lean on the veteran Keenan Allen here, bro, just because of the for sure target share. Yeah, good to see you in here, Andre. Yeah, sorry, another Dell question. Do you think Tank Dell is the new Christian Watson through 4? Absolutely not. Not even remotely close. I think when you look at these two players, there's one that's going to have an exponentially better career than the other, and that is Tank Dell. Tank Dell is not Christian Watson. If you saw him before he went down with his injury last year, he was getting 9 or 10 targets every single week, and they were high-quality targets, downfield targets. He's their home run hitter. Okay, like if you look at Watson's athletic profile, he's levels above him. He's 6'5". He's faster, obviously, with the 4.3 40 time. So if you look at the athletic intangibles, Christian Watson is I heard about that. I heard about Tyreek Hill getting arrested. And to be honest with you, bro, I heard about it like right before I went live. And I don't even know what happened yet. I wish I had some information on the subject. Y'all blow up the chat. Let me know what's going on with Tyreek Hill. Should we buy Josh Jacobs now? Absolutely 100%. Yes, you should buy Josh Jacobs. First of all, Jordan Love is only out probably 4 to 5 weeks, right? So we know that at some point the offense is going to be fully functional again. And in the meantime, they're probably going to be feeding Josh Jacobs like crazy because they don't trust Malik Willis to sling the ball down the field. That means more dump-offs underneath for Josh Jacobs. This is going to be huge for him. I think that Josh Jacobs is still going to have a really big season. Can you tell me some player, bro? Yeah, Andre, to be honest with you, I've been busy drafting DFS teams. And, I mean, yeah, if you're talking about Josh Jacobs being, but like, dude, he had 5.3 yards per carry 2 nights ago. I mean, like, yes, he started the game inefficient. I wouldn't judge it off such a small sample size, though. I think he's going to be very efficient behind this offensive line. He did have 2 breakaway runs, runs of 15 yards or more. So he had 2 breakaway runs in one game. So I wouldn't really say he's inefficient. He was very efficient in the second half. I mean, obviously the first half he was inefficient, but Dell now has Diggs to deal with. Yes, Dell has Diggs to deal with, but he's still kind of their home run hitter. Look, you can say that for every wide receiver in this offense. Nico Collins now has Dell to deal with, but he's listed as the wide receiver 1 on the depth chart. I think that this is going to be a very hard wide receiver room to navigate on a weekly basis from a best ball perspective by like all 3 players, because they're all 3 going to go off from a season-long perspective as far as collective points. But on a weekly basis, it's just so incredibly hard to figure out which Texans wide receiver to actually start. Because, like, who's going to be the guy, right? Yeah. Yeah, I understand that's your concern, but he's still not only going to get 4 targets a game. Like, even in being a crowded wide receiver room, I think Dell's going to get 7 targets a game, bro. Definitely not 4. He's way too good of a player. And C.J. Stroud likes him way too much to target him less than 7 times a game. So look for somewhere between 7 and 8 targets today for Tank Dell. And if he gets 3 targets and I look like an idiot, come back, tell me I'm an idiot, and we'll address it further from there. But mark my words, he will have 7 targets today at the absolute worst 6. I took Bijan over 63.5 rushing. I like that, bro. I think Bijan's going to explode this year. Look, if he had done what he was supposed to do last year, from an overall fantasy points per game perspective, that rushing, that 63.5 rushing would be way higher. But the only reason he didn't do it was because of Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith would not use him. He would not cut him loose. They're going to cut him loose this year. They've been saying it all off season. I'm taking all the overs on Bijan's rushing. I think it's going to be Keon Coleman. I mean, it could be Curtis Samuel, though. It's definitely not going to be Khalil Shakir. And from the tight end position and from the overall pass catcher perspective, it's going to be Dalton Kincaid. right? So I think that Dalton Kincaid's absolutely going to blow up in this offense. He was obviously already drawing comparisons to Travis Kelce coming into the league, and now you've got him in a situation where there's no truly elite wide receiver ones in his offense. That remains to be seen with Keon Coleman. He could be a truly elite wide receiver one, but as of right now, we don't have a truly elite wide receiver one in the offense like we had Diggs. Odds are Keon Coleman will never be as good as Stephon Diggs was in his prime. So I think that Dalton Kincaid is going to be a massive target hog in the Buffalo offense. So Dalton Kincaid is going to be the guy. Ask away, everybody. Blow up the chat. As many questions. The more questions, the better. Trying to grow my live stream base. So whenever you ask questions in the comment section, it certainly helps feed the algorithm and everything like that. It helps more people roll in here and ask questions. And so don't be shy to ask. Ask as many questions as you want. Blow it up. Blow up the chat. Ask away. Yeah, I mean, I want to see what Keon Coleman does as well. And I'm excited about Keon Coleman. I mean, like I said, I think he's going to be the wide receiver one in this offense. I just don't think he's going to be the main pass catcher. I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be the main pass catcher. But as far as just the wide receiver core, I think that there's a very good chance that Keon Coleman is the guy this year. Thoughts on DK Metcalf? I think DK Metcalf is overhyped going into every season because of his athletic intangibles. You look at how big and ripped and fast he is, and you're like, okay, this is a guy that's just going to get me a ton of fantasy points. And then every single season, he disappoints. So my thoughts on DK Metcalf are that he gets drafted too highly, but I think he has a chance this year to return his ADP. If you're wondering about DK Metcalf in week 1 specifically, I do not like him getting shadowed by Patrick Surtain. Patrick Surtain is certainly a shutdown corner. Do I start Rachaad White? Yes, you start Rachaad White this week. I'm not that big on Rachaad White from a season-long perspective, but going up against the Washington Redskins or whatever you call them now, I am going to start Rachaad White because, well, that's the worst run defense in the NFL. The Commanders, sorry. I'm always going to call them the Redskins. I don't know. It's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to be stubborn, and I don't know. I grew up a Cowboys fan, and I always enjoyed the Cowboys-Redskins rivalry. So for them to change their name is just totally uncool. All right, everybody, blow up the chat. Ask as many questions as you want. Oh, and make sure to like the video as well. Hit that like button, and that's going to help get this video out to as many people as possible. Yeah, Andre, to answer your question about Rachaad White, start him this week, let him go off, and then sell him high. Because, I think there's a very good chance that he has a very good game against a poor defense in week 1, and then probably is just average at best for the rest of the season. So, yeah, I would go ahead and start Rachaad White and then sell him high after week 1. How do you think Marvin Harrison Jr.? I love Marvin Harrison Jr. If you're asking about this game specifically, I really love Marvin Harrison Jr. because I think that he's an awesome bring back for this game. And, you look at this game, Buffalo is still going to be an efficient offense led by Josh Allen. The Arizona Cardinals have an absolutely terrible defense. They're probably going to be playing from behind in this game. So what are they going to do? They're going to be feeding their number 1 receiver often. And when you look at the depth chart on this team, the difference between Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, and Greg Dortch is astronomical, right? It's not one of these wide receiver rooms where the wide receiver 1 and the wide receiver 2 are very close. There's Marvin Harrison and then a massive drop-off to Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch as far as a talent perspective. So they're going to be feeding Marvin Harrison like crazy this year. We know that rookie wide receivers have the ability to break out. We've seen it with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. There's no reason why Marvin Harrison Jr. can't be the next Justin Jefferson. It is certainly in the realm of possibility. And even if he's 75% of that, he's going to go off. Javonte or Brian Robinson, non-PPR? Javonte or Brian Robinson, non-PPR? I'm going to go Javonte against Seattle, bro. I have a lot of shares of Javonte this year for a reason. I think he's going to have a good season. So I'm definitely going Javonte, especially in a standard league, over Brian Robinson. McBride and Marv are going to be special. I 100% agree. I think that Trey McBride has an outside shot to be the tight end 1 in fantasy. So, yeah. I mean, I think that this offense is actually being slept on. Yeah, Abraham and Kyler, for sure. Yeah, Kyler's going to have a good season. You know, like if you look at Kyler Murray's track record, the dude has been awesome his entire career. You know, it's just the minute he got hurt, everybody forgot about him because, you know, all the other elite quarterbacks emerged. But Kyler Murray is a top 5 quarterback in fantasy points per game like every single year that he's healthy. And now he might have a better wide receiving weapon than he's ever had in Marvin Harrison Jr. And he certainly has a better pass catching tight end than he's ever had in Trey McBride. So, yeah, Kyler's going to be awesome. Feel free to drop a super chat or two if you want to support the channel, but everything supports the channel. I mean, just these comments support the channel, so comment as much as possible. Mars line is 65 yards. That's kind of scary. That is a ridiculously high line, but I think you're going to hit the over here, Andre, because you look at this game, and the Cardinals are going to be playing from behind from right out of the gate. And Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray are incredible. They're probably going to connect on a deep ball today. Kyler Murray is one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. Marvin Harrison Jr. is an incredible route runner, has the ability to get open downfield, has the ability to catch passes at all levels of the field because he's just that kind of player. I like the over here on 65 yards. I like the over here. I don't have the over-unders next to me, so you're going to have to tell me what they are, and then I'll make a judgment call. Kincaid, 55.5. Man, it's so hard not to take like all the overs in this game because it's got so much shootout potential, and the Arizona Cardinals just have such a bad defense. But 55.5 line for a tight end is tough. You know, when it's not Travis Kelce, it's tough to hit an over like that on a tight end. But it is very close, and I don't know. I'm gonna go under here. That's a lot. I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under on Kincaid and over on Marvin Harrison. Curtis Samuel, 31.5. Shakir, 44.5. Coleman, 35.5. That is so weird. So Shakir has the highest over-under. That is odd to me. Let's go under on Let's go over on Keon Coleman, over on Curtis Samuel, and under on Khalil Shakir. Yeah, I'm going over on the two smaller lines and then under on Khalil Shakir. Man, that's crazy that Dalton Kincaid is projected for that many yards, more so than like all of his wide receivers. Yeah, but that's just because like he emerged as like they for whatever was going on in the locker room with Stephon Diggs, like obviously Diggs like stopped being used in the second half of the season, and then Khalil Shakir stepped up and was the guy. But I think that's just a byproduct of being in the Buffalo offense and being the number one receiver in the offense. I don't really think that the dude has any sort of special talent. Josh Allen, 1.5 passing yards. I'm gonna have to think about that one. Would you start either Keon Coleman or Ruma Dunze over Metcalf this week? Worried about Surtain matchup. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is Surtain's going to be shadowing DK Metcalf. I really don't like DK Metcalf all that much this week. It's hard to start a rookie at the same time, but I say go ahead and start Keon Coleman. I think Keon Coleman's very safe. I think that Keon Coleman is going to be the wide receiver one in this offense. And the Cardinals defense is terrible, bro. I mean, this is a game where, like, they should definitely be able to exploit the defense they're playing against. And while it's a little bit of a toss-up between the Buffalo wide receivers right now, I think there's a very high likelihood that Keon Coleman ends up being the wide receiver one in this offense. So I'm going to start a talented wide receiver on a good offense playing against a bad defense. And I am going to take Keon Coleman over DK Metcalf this week, even though consensus would tell you otherwise. Did I see the Dak contract? Absolutely insane. No, I did not. How many hours ago did this happen? Must have been very recently. And it's, man, what an 4. Oh my, oh my gosh, 4 years, 240. 4 years, 240 million. 60 million a year. Yeah, Jordan Love did break the market. 60 per year. That is absolutely insane. I mean, that's crazy. And this is a quarterback who, like, obviously from a fantasy perspective has been very good in his career, but from a real life perspective is like way overhyped. The dude can't win in the playoffs. I don't understand why. I just don't understand why we're paying him so much. It's absolutely ridiculous. Actually, I do understand why we're paying so much. It's because the Cowboys refuse to make adjustments and they don't really understand how to make good decisions with their money because Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones. He's 90 years old. He doesn't know what's going on. And I think 60 million a year for Dak is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. $60 million a year, man. That's crazy. 65 million. It just keeps going up. You know, it's crazy. These contracts are getting so out of control, man. 60 million a year. Yeah. I mean, it's really just a timing thing. You know, it's like you sign your first contract and then, you know, it's just a matter of time until you get your second one. But it a lot of times ends up being like a situation where the best quarterback in the league isn't necessarily the highest paid quarterback in the league. I mean, if it was just like one for one, like the best quarterback is the highest paid quarterback, well, you know, obviously Mahomes would have the biggest contract, but it just doesn't always work that way. What's Mahomes' contract again? Oh shit. Huh. Nice. All right, y'all. Week one lineup questions. What do we got? Blow up the chat, my friends, with your fantasy football questions. That is so crazy about Tyreek Hill, bro. That is just absolutely insane. The dude can't stay out of trouble, man. It's like, damn. Tyreek news, do I start Olave or DJ Moore? I'm going to start Olave just because, like, he's the clear-cut one in his offense. He's playing against the Panthers, which should be a pretty soft matchup. I don't necessarily think that the game is going to be all that high scoring, but I'm starting Olave over DJ Moore. Yeah, start Olave, bro. Christian Kirk or Chase Brown? Well, Christian Kirk is playing in what's supposed to be the highest scoring game on the Sunday slate for the main slate of games. So I'm going to lean Christian Kirk just based on the game script alone and him being technically still at this moment the wide receiver one in his offense. It remains to be seen if it stays that way. But as of right now, he's the wide receiver one in his offense playing in an inevitable shootout warm weather game. I like Christian Kirk over Chase Brown easily. Yeah. Man, I can't wait to really dive into the details of this report. It just never it never and it just never makes sense. You know, these guys are getting paid all this money and they just can't stay out of trouble. Like, just live a good, clean life and, you know, roll in your cash. What's Malik Neighbors' line at? To be honest, I haven't drafted a lot of Brian Thomas this year. I was really avoiding him like in the offseason. For no particular reason. Like, I do like the player, I do like the talent, and he's in probably a very high scoring game today. So yeah, I mean, I want to start all the pass catchers in Jacksonville. I want to start I want to start all of them, including Evan Ingram. And so Brian Thomas Jr., yeah, I like him. Neighbors' line is really high, 63. It's because the Vikings have a weak secondary. That's exactly why the line is so high, but I'm taking the under. It's a rookie wide receiver in his first game. I'm not betting the over on 63.5. Under 100%. Boys, we are about 1 hour from game time, so hit me with your fantasy football questions, and let's get this rolling. Man, I'm so pumped. It's like he's got to get out of jail right in time and make it to the game. Gus or Dobbins? Dobbins. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins. Look, Dobbins is the number one running back on the depth chart, and he's by far and away the more talented back. So I'm going to be playing J.K. Dobbins. Obviously, he's coming back from a plethora of injuries, but all reports are that he's been healthy for a while. So it's not like one of those things where like he just got healthy at the very last second and he's just good to go at game time. This dude was considered healthy like 6 weeks ago. So with that being said, I think that he actually is legitimately healthy, and he's by far and away the better player than Gus Edwards. So I'm starting J.K. Dobbins. Hill is playing. Oh, damn. Then do I flex Olave or Moore? Yeah, Olave. Yeah, you're playing Olave over Moore, bro. We got some more people coming on. Yeah. Ask away. Ask your fantasy football questions. Blow up the chat. The more activity we have in the chat, the better it is for the algorithm, and the more people we'll have show up, the more we can blow up this channel and make it the biggest channel of all time. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the sneeze shadow, and then like also like Olave is going to be getting 12 targets a game. I mean, if Olave led the league in targets per game this year, I wouldn't be surprised, because like how else are they going to run this offense? They're going to throw to Olave and they're going to dump off to Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. That's all their entire offense is going to be downfield to Chris Olave, intermediate to Chris Olave, dump offs to Alvin Kamara. That will be their entire offense. So like the target share for Chris Olave is just going to be so damn good. I'm not sold on the offense being good at all, so I don't think the touchdown upside is necessarily there, but he will get an insane amount of targets. Oh, man. You pretty much already won your week, bro. Like, I mean, like if you're talking about a 14-man league and you had Worthy and Reed both starting, like there's a good chance that your matchup's already over. That's pretty awesome, man. But then again, man, I never underestimate the miracles and the craziness and the ridiculous stuff that can happen on Sunday. I mean, like you could look like you're in a winning situation and somebody could still come back on you. So you don't want to, you know, count your chickens before they hatch, or your eggs before they hatch, whatever the hell that saying is. But like 14-man league, and you've already got like what 53 points between the two guys if it's a full PPR. Or no, if it's a full PPR, you have more than that. You have like 58 points between the two guys if it's a full PPR. Yeah, that matchup's over, bro. Probably not guaranteed, but probably it's probably over. Ask away fantasy football questions, everybody. All right, y'all. I am going to get out of here. I wanted to stream for about an hour this morning and just answer all your fantasy football questions. I'm pretty much right here at the hour mark, so I am going to get on out of here. I'm going to go watch some pregame stuff and learn and study more fantasy football and watch all my teams go off today and win. So I am going to catch you guys later, and I will see you in the next stream. Peace out.